Thank you.
Assemblymember Brown.
I'm so happy to hear you talk about this REN program. I was just given a highlight by the Habitat for Humanities in Rubidoux, California. You're putting in one. That's not far from my district, but it's, it is in the inland region. Would like to know, in San Bernardino, we have a high number of vets because of Norton Air Force Base. Have you heard of anything happening there?
Not yet. No.
And you are working with Habitat, right?
We do at times work with Habitat on these, and the two that we're doing in Riverside County, we are working with the Habitat there as the affordable builder and service provider for them. So, but we aren't exclusively working with Habitat.
Okay, well, we're looking forward to you coming to San Bernardino. Dennis Baxter is our Habitat person, and he looked at the program and just got so excited he didn't know what to do. So I'm looking forward to seeing you come to the 47th Assembly District, who's always left out, with Mr. Salas. We will sing that song and just talk about it all the time, because although we have had Norton Air Force Base, that's where every person who went to Vietnam went through Norton Air Force Base. And to see it, they've done a lot of work on it, but to see that there's nothing for veterans in that area, it kind of hurts.
Right.
So
we've been trying to finish up an asset mapping, in essence, across the state, county by county, to look at the most impacted counties and then to start really trying to contact them specifically. But we keep going to the League of Cities and talking about our program there, and then those members that have more interest come and talk with us, and we follow up with them. So we will be happy to keep, we will be happy to keep working.
Mr. Salas and I are following up.
Okay.
I won't leave him out like they leave us out.
Not getting in there.
All right, Assemblymember Bro.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I actually asked the Prop 41 question to your Undersecretary, and she said it'd be best answered by you. So I guess it's a clarification in my mind. So Prop 41, you mentioned the program of building homes for low-income veterans, and I too have a similar situation. Habitat did it in San Juan Capistrano, 21 homes for veterans, and they had to sweat equity, all the same program you outlined. My question, because she outlined what happened in Los Angeles with the 83 beds, is your program envisioning low-income veterans who could be homeless, or do you have part of that is going after homeless veterans to get them in housing?
So the Prop 41 that's funding the VHHP, the Veteran Housing and Homelessness Prevention Program, targets both. But in this first running of the NOFA to put money out, the program guidelines are more heavily focusing towards homeless veterans and chronically homeless veterans, as is the charge in the Act. But it does not exclude projects that would be also working towards veterans who are not as far down in the homeless realm. So extremely low income or low income veterans could also be captured into that.
One other question, Madam Chair. Your limit for the loans,
home loans,
in your view, with the price of housing in the Bay Area and Southern California, do you think an adjustment needs to be made there?
I think it is something that needs to be looked at, and we're starting to try and begin conversations with that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And our next speaker will be Deputy Secretary Villarreal Younger.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Martha Villarreal, I was appointed approximately 18 months ago also, 22 years in the military, 11 years in the California National Guard, and 1 combat tour in Afghanistan. So I'm especially proud to be here serving veterans now from this seat. The Minority Veteran Division conducts outreach, education, and advocacy into those efforts. I participated in more than 20 community events that have spanned from San Diego to Crescent City. We have sponsored 3 major outreach events in this past 14 months. The Black Veterans Summit, which drew close to 300 veterans. And what was interesting about that event was that we announced it, and within 45 days we had to close registration because it was filled to capacity. So definitely a desire in that community to address issues. We held a Medal of Honor ceremony here at the Capitol, which honored and recognized 5 California and Latino veterans that were originally overlooked due to the racial tensions of the time, and so their citations were either downgraded or revoked, and President Obama recognized those contributions in a March event. In September, we did an LGBT Veterans Leadership Forum, and I'm very proud of that because I think it's the first in the nation that addresses where we are with providing services to our LGBT veteran community. We looked at specifically what services were available that we should be duplicating across the state, what gaps in services there were, and potentially a way forward. We have partnered with the California Research Bureau, and they will be publishing some white papers and some short subject papers. The white papers are due to be published in May, early May, and we will be going out, CalVet, in June to talk about those findings and a way forward and have an open dialogue to see if we really captured the state of these veterans. And what we're finding is it's very regional, just like with all veterans, the services available and the accessibility. During this time period, we've also revamped our CalVet webpage. We've made it more resource specific and outlined directing and referring to veteran service organizations to help. We developed the CalVet Minority Veterans Facebook page, in which we not only push out information regarding benefits, but we highlight contributions of minority veterans and underrepresented veterans. For example, this month for Black History Month, we are every day highlighting one African American veteran and their contributions and the impact to the history of the nation. Under my portfolio, I also have El Soldado, a monument located across the Capitol, and it is the only monument on state Capitol grounds that is dedicated to Latino veterans. So it has a long history. We're very thankful to Senator Correa for extending the sunset clause to June of 2016, and we are very confident that by September of this year we will be breaking ground on that monument. So the Minority Division has been very active. We're very excited about all of the past events that have happened, and we're definitely looking forward to shifting and developing a more specific outreach plan in which we talk about cultural competency with our outreach and our communications folks. Pending your questions.
Thank you very much for that update. Do we have any questions from the committee? Ms. Brown?
I just want to thank you for your work that you're doing, both of you. Where's the other? You're a new person that said that. Thank you for the work you're doing, especially for veterans that have been sometimes marginalized and forgotten.
Thank you.
All right, then we'll move on to Deputy Secretary Sin.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members and staff. Thank you so much for the opportunity to discuss the mission to serve our California women veterans, which I am a California woman veteran. I served in the Navy active duty for 8 years, so this is obviously a mission near and dear to my heart. In front of you, you have our 3-page briefing paper for the program of women veterans, and then each of your offices should have also received our newly produced Women Veterans Outreach Toolkit. And hopefully your staff has had a chance to brief you on it or give you some highlights of it. If not, I'd be happy to meet with anyone discussing the toolkit as well. So I'll kind of cover some of the highlights for the division and what we're doing and where we want to go. I can confidently say that California has the most robust program for women veterans of any state in the nation. And as we should, we have 180,000 women veterans that have served in the military, which is the second highest population of any state in the nation behind Texas. And we're hopefully catching up to them. We're trying. We think California is a much more beautiful state, so we try to get women to come to the state. And in the last 3 years that I've been serving in this position, I think we've done a lot for women veterans. We've done a lot of outreach activities, not just sponsored by our department, but also worked closely in collaboration with many wonderful partners in the community. There are fantastic agencies and nonprofits doing great work for women. And there are fantastic women veterans in this state who are volunteers, who are advocates, who regularly engage with our office and others to make sure that the needs of women veterans are being met, as we do have very different and unique challenges in our military service and in our veterans experience. So that said, I'm just going to talk about some of these highlights in order to make sure that we're not just caring for women veterans, but they are prosperous and empowered and successful here in the state. So our mission is to provide information, advocacy, outreach, and support to the women of the state of California who have served. And we have two overarching goals that we really focus on with that. One would be outreach, and the second one would be advocacy. So with outreach, in a lot of ways, Mirtha and I, who are kind of two bookends, are force multipliers for the Veteran Services Division. We really extend our outreach in a more targeted way to veterans that have served in the state who may receive our messages a little bit differently. So with that, we've made sure to create things like the Women Veterans Brochure, where we ask women to sign up for our roster that actually gives women an opportunity to stand up and be counted, and connects directly with our office via email so that we can communicate with them on women-specific programs, services, and events. And then the other goal, advocacy, really allows us to do more research around policy to figure out how women are not being served and where they're not being served in their communities, and how we can close those gaps either through legislative changes, through policy development, through cultural competency training, or through partnerships, strategic partnerships that help us serve women better. So really for 2015, what we're going to focus on is improving our outreach, especially focusing on the social media and web-based services space. We're currently running a survey and asking women and advocates of women veterans to let us know what kind of information they receive through social media, what platforms they're using, and what information they would like to receive. So far, we've had almost 200 respondents, and we've only been running the survey for a week and a half. So the respondent rate has been great. With that, we're going to develop a new strategy for outreach and really focus on how to get more messages out to women. We're also working to educate organizations using our outreach toolkit. So we printed 500 copies for this toolkit. We've sent it to several organizations. Each legislator in the California legislators received one. All of the CSU campuses have received one. We're sending it out to the UC campuses now and the community colleges now. All of our CVSOs have received one. And then all of the county commissions on the status of women and girls have received one. And we've briefed several organizations on the toolkit itself as well. And the purpose with this toolkit is really to help organizations learn how to better serve women in their communities and in their specific organizations. Because what we find is that women are receiving the messages a little bit differently, and when you think of a veteran, you don't necessarily think of a woman sitting in front of you. And so we try as hard as we can to make sure that organizations receive that message and then change how they're actually interacting with women who have served. And then also focusing on advocacy or on outreach, we continue to do annual events. So we have an event coming up in honor of Women's Military History Week. It's scheduled for March 18th at the Leland Stanford Mansion from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we'll be inviting all of you committee members to attend. And hopefully some of you can say a few words. We're excited about this event. Every year the governor proclaims the third week of March as Women's Military History Week, and we do our best to not only get those proclamations from the governor's office, but to send them out to as many organizations as possible. As many organizations continue to increase the events they do for women during this month. I think I'm traveling every Saturday in March, which is making childcare a bit of an issue. I might just take the kid with me. So. And then for advocacy in 2015, what we're really focusing on is continuing some initiatives that we started in 2013 and 2014. The first of which is military sexual assault. We are consistently looking at this issue because 1 in 5 women who receive services from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs do report to experience some sort of trauma related to sexual assault or harassment while serving. So we continue to work with the county veteran service officers and with rape crisis centers to develop cultural competency training, to train service providers so they understand who these survivors of sexual assault could be that walk in through their doors and how best to serve them. We've done one training with CVSOs, and we'll continue to work with our Veteran Services Division division and the CVSOs to do more. And then we're working on a training to develop to give to rape crisis centers right now. This year I'll also be serving on the 2015 National Sexual Assault Conference Advisory Committee, and we're working up workshop tracks right now focusing on sexual assault in the military, how to better care for survivors, etc. Regarding a couple other initiatives for advocacy we're looking at as well, under healthcare, we're partnering with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs Northern California VA healthcare system to do a needs assessment survey of women who live in rural areas so that we can help improve services delivered to them through the VA system. So we're excited about this partnership, and we'll be sending out surveys shortly to women veterans in those areas. And then around housing, we've been working closely with Deputy Secretary Gunn and the committee consultant for the VHHP program to ensure that applicants who want to develop projects for women's housing, for women veterans and their children, are getting the same consideration that other applications submitted are. And then we've also done a lot of research around where these issues are with women veterans who are not being housed correctly, how we can further house them and make sure that their needs are being met. So pending your questions, that's all I have for this hearing.
I just want to say to both of you, thank you for your service to our country, and thank you for the very important job you're doing in outreach to both women and minorities. Do we have any questions from the committee?
I don't have questions. I just wanted to say, first of all, that in San Bernardino County, we have the greatest CVSO, and they've been doing programs specifically for women, and that's how I became really, really involved in Veterans Affairs. Just have to tell the story because I think it's important. I was staffing Miss Amina Carter, who was my predecessor, and I had the charge of being involved in an event for women. And the first woman came up to me as she was entering, and we had those medals, thanks for your service. And I decided that I'm going to present this medal to people as they walk in, not just hand it to them. So I presented it, and as I say to you, thank you very much for your service. This lady looked at me, she just started crying. She cried, I mean, she had crocodile tears coming down, and I said, "Are you okay?" And she says, "I just didn't realize I was a vet." And it really made me think we have done a disservice to the people who have served us and the people who have kept us and our grounds clear and free. So I want to give you a thanks, especially being women, the men too, but the women that are sitting in front of me, because it's really important that you know that what you've done for us and our country is something that no one can ever thank you enough for. So I say thanks again.
Well, thank you very much. And I will be in Fontana in March as well, speaking at the Inland Empire event. So there's a fantastic group of women down there. So, yeah.
All right, thank you very much. And we are going to end with public comments. And if you can just please state your name and who you are representing, please.
Hi, I'm Chris Bingham, the Sonoma County Veteran Service Officer, and I'm representing the California Association of County Veteran Service Officers. Madam Chair, members, thank you for serving on this committee. Madam Chair, thank you for the sponsorship of AB 171. Madam Brown, I do have an answer to a question you asked CalVet earlier, and I can answer you that offline regarding home care for veterans. I'll be happy to do that. Before this meeting started, Deputy Secretary Boylan informed me that they'd seen a jump in our claims by 17% in the last 6 months, year over year, which to me shows that the money that has been added is working. We're seeing more people. We're getting more VA awards. We've created a huge demand for service. We've added staff, some permanent, some temporary. We need to have the money permanently in the budget. If we don't have it, we're going to lose staff. We've already created an increased demand for services. We're not going to be able to serve them. Just to give you an idea of the scope from a local perspective, last year in Sonoma County, we brought in about $14.5 million of new VA money to our clients. In the first 6 months of this year, we're at 8.6 already. And so the investment of the state of California is going to pay huge dividends, so let's keep it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hi. Goodness. Colonel Lorna Grease. I represent Military Officers Association here in California. I'm also a Vietnam veteran. I was a nurse in the Army for many years. I've been to many of Lindsay's programs, and I know they're wonderful, so I thank her for that. I've also been helped by the County Veteran Service Office, so we support those and appreciate anything you can do.
Thank you very much.
Peter Cameron. I'm Director of Veterans Resource Centers in America and representing the California Association of Veteran Service Agencies. I just wanted to say thank you for holding these hearings. Thank you very much for your interest, and really looking forward to supporting you on your agenda. Veterans today still have a lot of needs for your attention that need to be addressed, a lot of problems that need to be resolved. But once again, just to say thank you.
Thank you. And that looks like that is all for public comment. So, all right, so that we will go ahead and adjourn this meeting, and thank you to all of you for your attendance.